Welcome to Mended Men's Conversation, life lessons and legacies, where real men have real conversations. In every episode, we dive deep into the struggles, victories, and lessons that shape us as men. From mental health and fatherhood to faith, identity, and purpose, we are breaking the silence and starting the conversations that matter. Between us is over 12 years of professional experience and more than 140 years of combined life experience as fathers, sons, brothers, husbands, friends, and educators. We know that healing starts with an honest dialogue. So let's get real. Let's get ready. Let's grow together. This is Mended Men's Conversation.
Good morning, everybody. This is
Good
Anthony
afternoon.
Washington, and
My name is Titus Garnett. I'm the real host of the show. Anthony is in training right now. So this is Mended Men Conversations. What's up, bro? How was your week? You been doing all right?
yeah, I'm a lot better today. Got over that head cold. Like I said, head cold in the summertime is a mother.
It's
Ain't no
miserable,
joke.
man. It's miserable.
Yes, it is. Can't
Miserable.
breathe, nose running. Feel like I gotta walk around like with a tissue in my hand 24/7. But it's better.
But see, the
It's a
thing
hell of a
is, it
lot
don't
better.
make no sense about it. You get a head cold in the summertime. How you be cold and it's hot outside? You know what I mean? That don't make sense. But that's what we say. That's what
Yes,
we
sir.
say. Yeah. So,
So
what's our subject matter for the day?
we was gonna pick up where we left off last week and
All
go
right.
because there was a lot of things we didn't get a chance to discuss.
All right, where do we leave off at in particular? You see, so much happens every week, every day, from morning to night. You may start your day hearing one thing from them idiots, and then you end up hearing something completely different at noon, and then hearing something completely different before you go to bed. I mean, it's just constant. They keep throwing the mud at the screen till you need to take a shower and wash all that crap off you and leave it alone. You know?
Yeah, you do. That's something that you have to do because I think what their intentions are is to throw you a lot of bullshit your way. So you get frustrated, and it's easy to do that. But it's done deliberately. You say, look at the shit you done now. But the bottom line of it is all this shit over here, the Epstein files, and that's what they don't want you to pay attention to. So they always gonna keep some shit over here going. Man, this is crazy. Which it is crazy, but we can't forget our main focus. Even though you're doing some distraction stuff, you always have to remember to come back to you finish up where we started, and that's the big
Mm-hmm.
Epstein file. You need to answer to that shit.
Yeah.
So he do stuff, and I believe is deliberately to throw you off track and not to pay attention. What these people are going to hold him responsible, and that's the Epstein. His shit is dirty as
You know, the thing that's really frustrating is the Congress. They are a large body. There's not one-on-one with them, but they treat it as though it's one-on-one. The crap about Donald Trump and the January 6th people getting that slush fund. And also, why does he and his family get tax immunity? And they talk about the abortion. I mean, that's just too much for anybody to take. And this idiot Cassidy, he's going to vote for him. And this guy's not even going to be in office. And the two other guys that held up the last week, they're not going to be in office. And those three guys right there, white men, once again, showed their cowardice toward this guy. All right. And two of them, he primaried them. He went for their competitor for their primary. And they still going along with this guy. And the other one is retiring. So how can he be scared of this guy? That's just like saying, okay, the bully in the playground, well, shoot. At the end of the week, I'm moving. We moving across the country. And you still let the bully push you around. Hit him in the head with a brick and then run off. Okay? He ain't gonna catch up with you. But they still fall into place. And it kind of lets you know. And Cassidy, the bad thing about it, he's a doctor, and he's the one that gave the final vote for Kennedy to be in charge of the health department. Kennedy. That idiot. And look how he screwed that up. And he is this doctor having questions about Kennedy, but he still votes for him to put it in. I ain't never seen a bunch of weak-kneed motherfuckers in my whole life. And especially, and Trump can't touch him. He can't touch him. What can he do to them? You know?
Well,
but they still cowed and ran away.
did you really expect anything different from them?
Man, you know, they say, Jesse Jackson used to say, keep hope alive. So, yeah.
I agree with him on that. Keep hope alive. I don't think he was speaking about them.
Yeah, you got to expect, you know, we all expected it.
I say whoever come in that office after him, he got a lot of work to do.
They in the world of hurt because they're going to stop. They're not going to let whoever comes in behind him do that. They're not going to do that because you watch it. Before that, if the Democrats win the midterms and take the House and the Senate, you better believe they're going to pass a whole bunch of laws and stuff to keep them from doing it. From somebody, you know, before they go out of office, keep the next president from doing it. You watch it. They're going to pull that.
They're going to try. But, you know,
they're going to try.
Just like he did, just like he turned everything upside down, it's going to take the next, I'm going to say 8 years in order to see a difference in I hope not that long. But, you know, it's going to take some time to see some difference in that office. He wants to make sure he leave his mark. He will leave his mark. He wants to be admired.
Yeah, he's working his legacy. He wants his legacy. He wants to make everything a Mount Rushmore for himself. Everywhere you go, you want to see him. Things he's touched, things he said. When you go to Washington, you would think of Trump instead of thinking of Washington being the people's house or the people's place, the Congress place or whatever. He wants everything with him. You don't hear a lot about the statues he's got all painted or plated in gold all over the city. Unbelievable.
His crypto scheme.
Yeah.
He got rich off of it. And everybody that betted on it, they lost.
Burned. They got burned real bad.
So, like I say, whoever comes in office after him, we got a lot of work. We got to do a lot of cleaning up. We got to get a lot of all that mess that he created, they got to undo it. And
that's going to be interesting, man. Direction. One of the things that they're showing more on TV now than they used to, I've ever seen before, is people who voted for Trump talking about how he's screwing things up for them. You know, usually when they talk to a Trump supporter, now hold on, usually when they talk to a Trump supporter, no matter what happens going on, they would say, well, I'm giving him a chance. I'm going to give him a chance. Now, from what I've been seeing lately, they said, man, he don't screw it. He's screwing everything up. I can't afford it. He promised us this. He stabbed us in the back. Now I'm hearing that, well, I have never heard before.
Well, you know something? You can only bullshit a person for so long. And then I got to the point where they can't even believe the shit that he did.
That's true.
It's always been affecting them. But now it's something that they can't hide. Because it's really starting to feel it. That's one of the reasons why they're coming out saying the shit they say.
Right.
At least we have people thinking and going in that direction. Even with black news reporters, they're doing good. I mean, they all got their own podcasts and whatnot.
They don't even really give their opinion. They just go, well, we're just going to see what happens, aren't we? I mean, get the fuck out of here. All right.
It's like
BS.
Is that they're supporting him in a roundabout. And right out front, they just support him. They say little teeny things about it, but, you know, they don't tell the other side. They only tell one side, his side. That shit that he was talking about fake news, that shit is over. His news is fake. That shit they be talking on Fox, and it's fake.
I mean, his lies are so obvious now. It's so obvious. How do you clean up that stuff he says? The Iranian crap right now. Oh, yeah, Iran and Iman. Oh, yeah, they're settling on a deal for the Strait of Hormuz. And they look like they may come into something. And Trump says, yeah, they better hurry up or else they're going to see it like they've never seen it before. Ain't nobody scared of that shit no more. He can't threaten anybody no more. You know, it's like a bully with 2 broke arms and 2 broke legs talking about, I'm going to kick your ass. That ain't going to happen.
You know, you get to the point, you get to the point, you just walk by and say, he just talking shit.
And yeah, somebody push his wheelchair on down the road. You know, this guy. That's crazy. And it just, it don't nobody care. He already screwed up in no way, he made Iran feel like they won because they never cried uncle, never. And all you hearing about now is we depleted our armaments. We're down to, and when they tell you, well, we're only 20 of what we would like to have, I bet you it's lower than that. And he can't fire Hegseth, the Department of War. I mean, that idiot, he can't fire him. Because if he fired him, that'll show that everything was the truth. You know what I mean? That what the reporters and everybody was saying about our armament. Now, it's not the reporters who are saying that. It's the ex-generals and ex-officials in the Defense Department that is saying that. And Trump's, no, we're great. We got more. How do you tell somebody we are building new factories to make more armaments? We're going to make more armaments and it's coming rather quickly. Shit, it takes you 3 to 5 years to build any type of factory. Hell, it takes you 2 years to get a goddamn building permit, you know? And you're going to say you're going to have this stuff overnight? Then it takes some of them armaments, it takes you shit. It takes you a year to even build it, you know? So no, this guy is talking
And that's not
nonsense
talking
and they
about
all
getting it up
know
and
it.
running.
Yeah, you know, so it's just asinine, totally asinine. And the average, I mean, even his supporters, he don't lost, even of his MAGA people, he don't lost anywhere from 25 to 30% of them, you know. And think about the Republicans who are running for Congress. If they lose 25 to 30% of their vote, oh, man, that's a lot. Because a couple of the guys who were talking are the voters, they Republicans, they didn't say they would vote for the Democrats. They're saying, hey, just might not vote at all. So, hey, that's your boy.
Hey,
Now,
I've been listening to the switch reels for a second.
yeah, go ahead. We still heading to where we go from here. But go ahead.
Nolan Wales case.
Say that again.
Nolan
Oh,
Wales.
the Nolan Wales? Yeah, okay. All right.
What you think about the brother that's, speaking up for white guys? He was an
Say that again.
ex-cop. It's a black guy.
Uh-huh.
That's his name. Tatum.
Man, there's something wrong with him, man. We shouldn't use words like house Negroes. You know what I mean? We shouldn't use words like that. I want to say something else. Begin with a C.
But you remember you on
But
air.
I know. Don't worry. I wasn't talking about genitalia. I was talking about begin with the C. Anyway, I can't call him a raccoon because that's a whole new different animal. All right. So yeah, there's something wrong with him, man. I don't understand him. But what are you referring to in particular?
I ain't gonna say I don't understand because it just don't make sense. But I think he does it just to get his name out there. Sometimes people do shit, doesn't make a difference, is it, right? Just to get publicity, to get known, because I listened to him talk and some of the things he talked about doesn't have anything to do with the case. He's giving his own opinion.
He's
But,
an ex-cop, right?
yeah, they asked him a
Okay.
question and
Uh-huh.
he drifted out there and left field. Don't
Well,
make
he
sense.
was. Go ahead.
No, you just got people like that want a little fame. And this is one way to get it. I don't think it's a positive way because we still just finding out a lot little by little what's true about this case is coming up. Bit by bit, we find out the information that's coming out about this case.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how. What I do like about it is what the mom did. She had a platform where she invited some other mothers that kids that wound up missing in Mississippi, and their death was ruled suicide.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
now she's bringing attention to those people, those names. Since Nolan Wales got so much attention, so I like the way she's using it.
Yeah, her and the father are real. They're really keeping their composure about this thing, you know.
Yeah.
And they speaking clear and conscientious about the things they say, and they're not flying off on the handle, all right? But they want answers, and they're not giving them any reasons to change the subject to something else and saying, well, look how emotional they are, or look what they say. No, they're not giving them that opportunity to deflect,
Nah,
into
I like
something
that.
else. So this guy you
My hat goes
talking
off to
about,
them.
huh?
I said my hat goes off to them.
Yeah. But this ex-cop you talking about, he I think, and you got a bit of a point there about he wants the attention, so he's saying things. I had saw him in a brief video when a brother was trying to tell him about bias in the medical industry toward black people, and he gave him statistics about the birth rate of black babies versus white babies, with black doctors versus white doctors. And instead of him understanding biases, he would jump to and say, are you trying to say every doctor now is using racism? So every white doctor is a racist. Is that what you're trying to say? That's not what he's trying to say. You don't have an answer for it. So what you do, you just take it. And if he's talking about apples and oranges, you want to throw in bananas. Ain't nobody talking about bananas. Or you want to throw in nuts. All right. So no, he doesn't understand the concept of biases. And I think that shows a lot of his ignorance of being able to make a point. He can't justify a point, so he tries to throw it back at you in a whole new different form. And that's not what you said.
It's part of the process. He just reminds me of Candace on. If there's opportunity, they jump on. We get a little
Right.
light shine on them, say they're screwed up. But hey, that's the day and times that we deal with.
Well, all right, let's I'm gonna deflect a little bit too. I noticed the job report came out today, and they always making adjustments on the job report, okay, for the previous months. So whereas in May it was actually less jobs than what they reported in May, at the end of May. All right. June they had to make an adjustment down on that. July they had to make an adjustment down on that, And now I'm not saying there ain't jobs out there. There's still jobs out there. But the salary, the dollar value, your money value, or your salary, I'm sorry, the means value of your salary is lesser now than it was back in 2021. All right, that's going back. That's pretty much taking your economic value back to COVID days. All right. So this guy, he's just screwing up all the way around. All right. He doesn't hear anybody. But what are we as a people? How are we going to address all this that's going on? Are we just going to put our hands up and say, what the hell? It's like that all the time. They all the same. They all this and that. And I think the only reason sometimes people say stuff like that, especially our people, we're going to talk about our people saying stuff like that because they don't understand or they don't truly have understanding how to dictate statistics to match how they feel, because not a lot of people really look at statistics for stuff. Because, okay, our conversation, we're having basic conversation here, all right? But there are other podcasts out there that people are discussing statistics, all right, about it. Now, we may talk it, but also we have an understanding of where we're going. We know that things are kind of screwed up. I'm sorry, not kind of screwed up. Things are fucked up.
Yeah.
They
choice
fucked up.
words.
Right. We're aware of that. But we also know that we just can't stand here and get on the radio and talk about it and not do anything about it ourselves, even if the most minute thing we can do is vote.
It got to be a two-party system. You talk about it, and after you talk about it, there got to be some action behind it. Because if not, we just kind of like going along with the flow.
Well, that's easy to do, though. That's the easiest way out. It's just to go along with everybody else who's doing what you're doing. Don't give a damn. So you feel like, misery loves company. So we all out there, all miserable, this and that. But if they going along with the flow and just saying, fuck it, we do the same thing. I'm talking about as a people. I'm not talking about any particular race or ethnic group or anything like that. I'm just talking about people in general. Like a lot of MAGA people follow Trump because he's Trump, because they know he's doing something, but they just don't know how to deal with it. They feel useless. They feel betrayed, but they don't want anybody to know they fucked up by voting for the guy. They're not going to admit that. Now you'll be able to get a lot of young blacks and young Latinos to say, man, I made a mistake. But some of them you got to convince them because they understand the mistake they made.
If they're paying attention to what's happening now, it ain't too much of convincing you got to do to them, because if they got their eyes open and their ears listening with their ears and their eyes open, they see what the shit is doing. Because I don't know what reason they voted for him in the beginning, but one thing about it, he will show you his true colors, and I think that's what he was doing the whole time. Just that some people wanted to change.
True. People just wanted to change. They wanted to change.
I can't fault them for not wanting to change, because this Democratic Party that we have now, they're sorry. And I'll say sorry. And I'm not talking about all of them. I'm talking about this old regime, the Democratic Party. The thinking is mundane, is boring. Don't get nowhere. It's not doing anything about it.
They got stale, man. They got real stale. They forgot
what they was put there for,
what they represented. Yeah. And then they fighting on the inside, progressive. And to me, some of the old guard, the Republicans are saying, well, they're social democratic socialists and this and that. Instead of them saying, no, screw you. They still Democrats. They're like, yeah, well, you don't want no Democrat socialism around here, this and that. And this country already utilizes some socialistic ways. People are trying to call him Al Qaeda and all this and that. But see, his parents were Egyptian immigrants, right? How many of these people here, these white folks? Let's take Trump's wife, all right? She's an immigrant. Her parents were immigrants, but she was an immigrant here, all right? She still holds 2 citizenships here in another country. Now, this guy, I want to see how the Democrats fight for him as a whole, all right? The woman he beat, at least she came out and said, we got to work as one. We got to win this midterm. At least she swallowed her pride and she came out there and said, yeah, we got to make this thing work. Let's see how many of these progressive don't try to make them stage far left. They come a little more to center. Because see, most voters, even most black voters, are moderates. They're not heavy progressive. Now, there are things that the progressives say that people like, like universal health care and stuff like that. But that don't mean they're far less left progressives. So let's see how the Democratic Party comes together for this stuff. In other words, they used to always say we're a big tent party. Well, let's see how many people are in the tent. And let's just hope it's not a circus. Because if it is, get the fucking clowns out of there.
I'm not really surprised about.
Oh, you talking about Schumer for the Senate? Yeah.
Yeah, it's about time for him to go fishing, go on a permanent vacation. I don't want to say I'm surprised Jeffries, because he seems to be more for the old regime more than the new ones that's trying to come up. And I'm saying I think he has the know-how to do things, and I don't think he's really accepting the change. If a lot of progressive, this new young Democratic start to take over, he will have no choice but to go along.
But they don't have a choice now, man. They got to work together, or else
that's true.
A party divided ain't gonna work. And the progressive have got to take this instead of saying, I'm a progressive for making a big deal. Because the average voter, even the average black voter, I would say the majority of black voters are centrist anyway. They're moderates, let me put it that way.
They really want to see what you're going to do.
They want to change. They want to see the attitude. They want to see that attitude. And they got to make a decision about when they're talking about Israel. Don't talk about Israel. Talk about Netanyahu. Make your point about him. All right? Put it on his ass, instead of letting the Republicans saying, look what they talking about the Jews. And no, they talking about Netanyahu. All right. And put it on him. Because see, he's got an election coming up soon. Netanyahu. He's got one coming up, I think in October. I think he's got an election coming up for him. September, October, he's got one coming up. Yeah. So and it's the hardliners that's been keeping him in power. All right. But the things that they've been doing in Gaza and Palestine, I mean, that's just utterly ridiculous. They killing children like, oh yeah, these kids got rifles in his hands. Let's blow them up.
Well, it's what they do, what we see here.
Mhm.
And they use the excuses Hamas is killing Jewish people over there. And I'm not saying they're not. I don't know. But my point of it is that, you're killing them Palestinians. And it's basically just about the land. They want to move them all off.
Oh,
there.
it is off their own land. Want to move them off their own land.
So they can put resorts up there and make some money. That's all it's about.
Yeah. Well, that's Trump wants to do. Israeli just want to control it and put their homes on it. Trump wants to build a resort. What an asshole. Anyway, but they just want to take the land, take the farmland, and they want to build homes and subdivisions, all that kind of bullshit on it. But
expand Israel.
Yeah, that's what they want. Yeah, they want to do that crap. There was something I wanted to mention about Netanyahu. I can't think of it right now. But they got to put they got to put. Oh, I know. If he loses, all right, then they got to pick up the trial which he is being indicted for. Okay, he's under indictment for, I think, bribery, some type of financial, all kind of crap. You know what I mean? And because he's staying in all, he keeps the war going, just like Trump try to keep crap going, so you won't have to look at Epstein, this, that, and all that other kind of crap. They both doing the same thing. All right. So Netanyahu, no, he don't want to. And another thing too, if he gets voted out, they're gonna look into that. What was that day? The October 7th? Excuse me. When they attacked Israel, they kidnapped all them people and put them in the tunnels and put them in the tunnel. Yeah, in Israel, right? And because the word is that he didn't listen to reports from. Now, see, Israel supposedly has the best intelligence pretty much in the world about what's going on in the Middle East. All right, and they knew something was going to happen, and they let him know, and he didn't do nothing about it. But also, he gave money to the Houthis in Iraq. What is the Houthis in Iraq, Iran, whatever and the coastal towns, the coastal countries over there, and he was giving money to the insurgents in a sense. Now, a lot of that stuff comes out, but it keeps their mouth shut. You don't get a lot of information on it because there's so much other crap happening, and Trump keeps so much shit in front of the public's eye. The news people got to make a decision on what to talk about and what not to talk about. And they prefer to talk about the gossipy stuff first. But then since they don't have any true information on the truth, they just kind of let it go a little bit. All right. And we're going to remind us to get a little bit on your boy Fauci. What's his name?
Anthony.
Anthony, yeah. Huh? Fauci? Right.
Yeah.
Now that's a bunch of crap right there. That's a bunch of crap right there. That really is. Trying to blame him for COVID. What kind of shit is that, man? What kind of shit is that?
It's not more than what they've been doing all along. They're not honest about anything, and they're gonna deflect, lie, cheat, steal. Save the master. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Save the master. Because he's up there talking about, and how do you get these senators in a congressional hearing say, and these are the worst ones, the ones who got a lot of trash in their own past, talking about, they said to Fauci, hey, what in the fuck were you thinking? God said it just like that. What the fuck were you thinking?
That shit is so raw.
It's raw, man. It's raw, bro. It's raw.
The congressman, I don't think it's a city, whatever, the one in Texas that what's the guy?
Which one?
Jasmine
Big
God
Mouth.
she ran against and lost. And
Gosh, what's it? Yeah, he don't know how the one Trump said that his wife was ugly and his father was in on killing Kennedy. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, but anyway, the Republican guy that's running, you know, he got all kinds of charges against him, assault his wife, his
Right,
daughter, and
right.
his father-in-law, from what I hear, is
He's a senator
Senate
too.
somewhere in Ohio, and
Yeah, he is.
has not
He is.
said anything about it. Just been silent.
Well, he finally did say something a couple of days ago. He finally opened up and said that I think his kid was afraid to go over to that house. His grandkid, I should say. His grandkid. He finally opened up about it because there was too much news being reported on it. So he had to finally. But see, he's the one that said to Fauci, "What the fuck were you thinking?" He's the one, the father-in-law. And then they started coming back on him and say, how you going to get on him, but you ain't getting on the guy that supposedly
abuse your granddaughter,
abuse your daughter
and your
your granddaughter. Yeah. So eventually, yeah. But what makes it even worse is the guy, the Speaker of the House, that little puscator, they said, oh, well, we don't want to talk about it because it's personal. This stuff is personal, let the family handle it. But you didn't say that about Swalwell when he got busted for a gun. Yeah, we got to get rid of him. We got to censure him. Yeah, he's got to. Yeah, when it's a Democrat or the guy who was running for the Senate in Maine against Susan Collins, and they said, oh, yeah, we got these women saying he did this and that. Yeah, we got to get rid of him. So he had to quit. They put the pressure on him to quit so he wouldn't run against Susan Collins in Maine. All right. And now this guy, not only was they got accusations of him domestic with his wife, you got 3 other women. You got aides, White House aides and aides in Washington talking about how he was. I mean, but no, that's private. We leave that alone. What a world.
You know, it keep us aware that how things has not changed. What you have to do to really kind of like to maintain some sanity in all this process. It's crazy, but it's real. If you have to really teach your kids, and, you know, be with them, you know, because this shit is real.
It's real. Yeah, it's very real. Where do we go from here? It's hard to say because every day it's something that goes. It's another cobblestone to create that same old road we've been creating ever since Trump came down that escalator back in 2016. It's creating that road, that another cobblestone being put on that street to make that street. You know, another layer of asphalt on top of that concrete of bullshit that keeps coming out, and it keeps getting built, and nobody is doing nothing to do anything about it. The Democrats, they can't do nothing because they're not in power, but if they don't stop that infighting, they'll never get back in power. The Republicans, how you accuse the Democrat when you have the power? Well, the Democrats are doing this, this, and this. But wait a minute. You got the presidency, you got the Senate, you got the House of Representatives, and you still blame the Democrats? How? How? And then you got people saying, yeah, the Democrats, wait a minute, they're not in power. That's like saying the guy down the street, right, is causing a commotion in your house. Motherfucker ain't in your house.
Most of all, when they had them conference, a news reporter, you know, bring that to light. Have a conversation like that.
You're right. You're right. Why don't they chat? Why don't the news reporters step out of being little puscators, and when Trump says something, instead of saying, well, Mr. President, we just say, you're lying. You big orange motherfucker, you're lying.
Hey, because
and everybody knows it. When he calls him, you're a no good news reporter, he should say, you're a no good president.
And you know something? If somebody responded to him like that, the way he responded to them, you would actually see him go off.
He would go off. He would try to fight him.
Yeah.
He would possibly try to fight him, you know. But somebody take a chance and do that. And the thing that frustrates me more, Anthony, is when you hear these news reporters, I'm talking about these talking heads in the show, and they say, well, that's not the truth. Or maybe he's coloring. Why don't you just come right out and say, the idiot is lying? They even soften it up. They soften it up. You know, call them they say more and more curse words on these talking head shows, you know. They'll say shit every now and then, or they'll repeat what a politician say. Why don't you just come out and say that asshole is lying and just leave it at that and let everybody absorb it in and say, damn, I've been waiting a lifetime for some son of a bitch to say that.
Now,
You know?
if they did, I can guarantee they would bar him.
They fire him on the spot. They fire him on the spot. Hell. That's why people have podcasts, so they can talk shit like we do.
Mm-hmm. Just actually say the truth.
Say the truth.
And don't have to worry about repercussion.
And that's the thing we have. We are in conversation, and we're not trying to sweet talk nobody. This is how conversation is. This is how it is. Now, we may not have all the perfect collegiate words to say this and that, but if you're an asshole, we're going to call you an asshole, and we're going to leave it at that. All right. Now, Anthony might say, well, it's a convoluted way of talking, and we think that person is really not telling the actual truth of justification and what they call. Then the angry black man goes, Anthony, call him an asshole, okay?
So you can say I'm a soft shoe around him.
Yeah.
I might be a little bit more polite than you, but
a very little more.
You're right. I agree with you on that.
Very slightly.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But you say it with a calm exterior, but you're still saying the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Hey, you got no argument for me. It's all the same. But that's what this is about. Give you an opportunity to just actually speak how you
feel. True.
And that's what this is about. How do I take all this in and continue to move forward with some sanity?
Right. Right.
I gotta know when it's bullshit, I gotta know the difference between bullshit and the truth. And when that gets together, I gotta know how to handle it so I don't carry that bullshit with me throughout my day.
Right.
It's easy
You gotta
to
let it go. You gotta let it go. And we'll do it here. And there's a lot of people don't have somebody that can get it off their chest too, because that environment may not be allowed them to.
And ignoring it is not the solution.
No, it's not.
Basically, if you choose to ignore it, you're about to.
Yeah. And I believe, Anthony, there's a lot of people just totally ignoring it because they don't know how to deal with it or adjust to it or just deal with it. They don't know how to take it, because sometimes our lives are so already a convoluted mess. There's something we just have to leave out. So we come on the air and we're not here to please anybody. We're here to say this is how two black men are conversing. And a lot of you converse the same way at home, at the Thanksgiving table, at the Christmas party, at the business meeting, wherever you're comfortable at being you. Wherever you're comfortable being you, this is how you are. Think about it, Anthony. If you notice, there's more road rage now than you probably ever heard a lot of before.
Yeah.
People are shooting the shit out of each other on the highways and on the side streets from road rage. You see what I'm talking about?
I can't believe some of the stuff that I don't know. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Right. And so there's got to be, and most of the time, there's got to be something else on their mind too that's pissing them off. Life.
You just choose not to actually deal with it. And it's easy to get angry and cut somebody out, like somebody.
It is.
Versus just dealing with your bullshit. But one of the things I think about a lot, and if I had enough of money, I really would. I think I would make a movie.
Oh, look out!
Oh, no, just
no, I'm sorry, y'all. Go ahead. You got it. Go ahead, bro.
Just Black history. Just how Black people did in this lifetime, but stories that you don't hear about.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Just give it more light to that, because you know we could sit around all day long and talk about they don't do this, but I feel like you know have you ever been down to the African American Museum in DC?
No, I've been to one in Macon, Georgia, but I haven't been to the one in DC. Because last time I was
Okay,
in DC, I don't think it was there. I don't know
yep,
if it was
okay.
built yet. But go ahead.
But if you ever go there, you can't just go one time.
Uh-huh. It's too
You got to go
much.
back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no, that's what I'm talking about. It's like that, like I said, I wish I had a platform where I can talk about things like that, our
Mm.
history, people that did things. I mean, I'll be reading books and I listen to some people, they talk about, damn, I ain't know that shit. But, just bring it to light more, you know, and we ain't got to sit around and talk about what they don't do, because they do what they do. They do. It's about
And
what we actually do. Yeah.
we're gonna go over time a little bit. I don't worry about that. But we both briefly talked about it in the past about the insight we've been receiving about Black history and the information and more knowledge that is coming to us because when we were growing up, it wasn't as deep and available as it is now. Okay. It makes you angry. How do you how do you handle it? Does it feel like you need to have to it's like we are owed a response. We are owed to give a response.
A
How do
response
you
to what?
handle to the knowledge that you're receiving about the lie of the country, about what actually was done to us, to our ancestors, okay? That you're now realizing how treacherous those people were, how the colonists, the so-called pilgrims, the so-called good people, the good presidents, the presidents we say they the good ones, and this and that. It's
How
like you
do I feel
said,
about it?
it's no, hold on. Yeah, I'm just saying, how do you deal with it when when you get the truth, and 400 years later, there has never been a true response to it? And do you feel like there needs to be a response, or how do you take it? How do you deal with it? How do you swallow it?
To be honest with you, this might sound crazy. Kind of like when I hear that, it feels good when I hear Black history that I never heard before, because, it makes me feel informed, okay, well, that sounds good. So I feel good about it. I say that because, to think about those ones that try to depress it and didn't. When I say a platform, because that that sounds like a real sick person, you know, that don't want you to know anything about you. And what they want to do is they want to make it look like they're all in all. And that sounds like a very sad individual. So the people that I listen to that that be talking about Black history and things that I never heard before, I feel good about that. I'm proud. I say that the ones that tried to keep it from us,
I
I'm proud
mean,
for because
even the violence that was perpetrated upon us.
this sounds like a very sick individual. When when you want to
No, I'm not talking about an
force,
individual. I'm talking about a people. The violence
well,
that was
that
upon us by
that's a
people, by
that's
a
an illness.
society,
That's an
by a
illness.
society.
That's an illness. When you, as a society, if you choose to depress people because you want to feel inferior, can't say it, but you know what I'm talking about. You, um, that sounds like a sick individual, because the bottom line of it, y'all human beings. Before you any color, we human beings. When I want to treat another human being less than because I think that my skin is better, that sounds like a very sick individual. And this country has been sick for a very long time. Since its existence, it's been sick. And it did nothing but tell lies from day one to the present. So I'm not surprised about what they're doing because they don't. This is what they know. That sounds like a very sick individual. Now it's like the curtain's been pulled, so the only resource to that guy is to double down on all the shit I used to do. Really? And then people supposed to accept that shit? Nah, nah. That's a very sick individual. And it's not just an individual, it's a very sick country. Mentality of that country is very sick. You know, because they put some words out, the Constitution, say they fought about. Well, that sounds good. But if your actions and if your words and actions don't coincide, you're full of shit. I don't know no other way to look at it. I gotta keep it simple because they complicate shit. Because if it's complicated, that brings on confusion. I don't do well with confusion. I need to keep shit simple. You said one thing, you do it another. You're full of shit. You're sick. You're a liar. What else can I say? So I gotta gravitate to what's true. So like I said, I appreciate all the information that I get, that I hear about, the history of us, Black people, period, that actually was trying to make a difference in this world. You know. So I just, they just sick. I can't say nothing else. So I say no more than that. This is a sick country. I mean, look at the shape look at the shape this country's in. That you have somebody's in office. Hey, excuse my expression. Is absolutely total from head to toe. Oh,
Watch the
no doubt
language,
about.
man. Watch the language on
Oh,
my ears now, okay?
I'm sorry.
All right, don't do that to
I
me
know your
now.
delicate ears. I apologize.
My delicate ears, boy. I tell you, don't do that to me now, okay? Show
I
some
won't. And
respect.
then he got his posse. They only get real when the light is shined on them and they have no choice.
But they still
And
lie out
being
of that.
honest to them, being honest to their honesty, I question that.
Yeah.
Because they follow him, but he's not the real leader. He's just a figurehead, and they allow him to do the things he want to do. They allow him. Listen, I say this much: what he was doing is how he was living in New York, going to party, just being an a-hole. That's what he's doing now, and he's put in a position where people gave him enough rope to hang himself and to do what he always been doing. But there's other things. And he's really a distraction because there's people behind him that's trying to do things and change things. So when he's gone, things can still stay the same.
Well, he
That's my
dared to
belief.
do what they always believed
Right.
and
Right.
felt and wanted. He dared to do it. And so he and they said, okay, we got this guy, and they thought they would control him, but actually they fell in line. They fell in line,
Pretty
and
much.
that's all it was. Yeah.
Because they realize there is no controlling him. He's
No,
been
they already
off
went
his
too far.
leash from day one. And
They
when
let
you
him
give
off
him
his
that much
leash.
rope,
Yeah.
he don't know how to come back. He just
And
continue to go.
they don't know how to bring him back.
There's no bringing
They
him
don't
back.
know how. There's no,
Yeah.
they created this mess. And now we see how now we're living at a time when we can look back at Rome, and we can look back at the British Empire, we can look back at other major civilizations, how they were destroyed. They were destroyed from within.
Yep. You
And
can.
we're the living example of it right now.
That's so
Okay.
true.
Well, I'm not going to continue anymore because I can only take so much of your sensitive way of explaining things. I mean, it almost made me get a little ill. I almost had to take, that medicine when you're in a boat or on an airplane, and you get that motion sickness. That's what I was getting when you were talking. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Anthony Washington saying, we got to go. So that's why he was leading us out of the show.
It was all good though. But
It sure was.
we do
but
have
I
to.
understand where you're coming from, bro. I really do.
Yeah.
I
Because
really
you
do.
got a lot of this is a sick country. Sick country.
It really is. It's very sick, and it's just as though it's nothing more. The point I'm trying to make, I don't want to get into it deep because it's about time to go, but there's nothing more difficult to deal with then an awakening, and you
Pretty
and
much.
and with that awakening comes an awareness, and you feel like you have swallowed enough of that shit, and you don't even want anybody to present it anymore, and you feel like there should be some retribution. It's like when Trump said about this January 6th money thing. He called it he said, he said it was reparations for him. That should be reparations for these people. Now, they don't want to give us reparations, but they want to give somebody who actually attacked the government reparations. Ain't that some shit?
Hey,
That shows you this guy. That shows you the
my words
mentality.
exactly.
You know?
Thank you. I don't got to say nothing else.
Yeah, we got to go. And that was good stuff. And we'll be back next week. My name is Titus Garnett.
And I'm Anthony Washington. More conversation.
And this is Mended Men's. Now, understand, I know we don't have to keep saying this now, because if you listen to the show, we know this is not a therapy session. You should know that by now. Okay?
Just a conversation.
Just a conversation. All right. TherapyGarnettCounseling.com. That'll really help you a great deal. They got some good people there to work with you. All right. So, Ant, sign us off. See you next week.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Mended Men's Conversation. If something we shared resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with someone who needs it. Remember, healing is a journey, and you don't have to walk it alone. Stay connected with us, subscribe to the podcast, and join the conversation online. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep building your legacy.